Jenny, I'm really glad to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
I appreciate you coming in.
Thanks.
I'm wondering what would need to happen during the time we spend today so that when you walk through the door to go home at the end, you'd be able to say to yourself, it wasn't a waste of your time.
Right. I don't know. I think right now I'm having a hard time making a decision with what I'm going to do next. I've had some more contact with John, and I feel bad about that because I haven't said anything to the family that I'm staying with. And the last couple of times we got back together, I was using again really quickly, and I don't want that to happen. I need to make a decision. I really care about him, but I don't want to put myself in a position where it's so easy to slide back into old habits. But he said he's clean now, but I don't know. I don't know. I guess something that would make this feel like not like a good use of my time would be if I could kind of talk through that and see what kind of a decision I can make about seeing him or not seeing him.
So it'd be a decision about John, and John is your boyfriend?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And by using, what are you talking about there? Because I don't know if I completely understand.
Using heroin.
Uh-huh.
I started using heroin after I met John, and we were getting serious. And whenever I was around him, all of our friends, all of the social interaction, that was all centered around using heroin. And it was so hard for me to be able to stay clean this time that I've been not using. And I don't want to go back to a situation, to a place where I will feel like that's normal. I don't want that to be normal again.
Of course, yeah. So you have been clean?
For 6 months.
For 6 months?
Mm-hmm.
How did you do that?
You know, I'm really lucky because my family has really been supportive. Looking at, like, talking about some of the friends that John and I had together, that I think that my family, my early childhood was a lot different from what they experienced. I have a lot of support there, and they're concerned about me, and knowing that they care has made it easier for me to, easier to go forward and really make an effort to clean up my act.
Wow. How do they show you that they care?
They check in with me. They like to stay in touch and know what I'm doing. They really like to talk about like the people that I'm spending time with and what I'm doing. Stuff like that.
Wow. And you've been clean for 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
Did your parents know that you had stopped?
Just recently, yeah.
Oh, so you did it on your own?
You know, I kind of like to do things. I like to start out like feeling like it's my decision, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to try, I suppose just recently is not maybe as accurate as I could have been, but I made the decision myself. They had been talking about how they were kind of worried about what they were seeing, like stuff that had changed about me, and hearing them say that they were concerned about me and they loved me and they wanted me to. They saw that I had goals that I wasn't achieving, and they were concerned about that. They wanted me to be happy with what I was doing, and because they were showing that kind of concern for me, it made me realize what I was really doing to myself and to my family.
Wow. What were you doing to yourself, do you think?
It was really self-destructive behavior. It, I mean, looking back on it, I wasn't healthy. If you need to depend on something to keep you going during the day, to get you up out of bed, to get you through the next hour, to make you feel like you're normal, like you can function. If you're dependent on something to do that, that's not something that should be part of a person's life, I think.
So you saw that at the time? Was that part of your decision?
I mean, it's, how should I put that? It took me a while to realize that that's what was going on, you know? I think a lot of times you don't realize what you're doing to yourself, what kind of patterns of behavior you're getting yourself into, until they've been happening for a while.
So you've done a lot of thinking about this. Now let me see if I understand what you've said about what would need to happen here today in order for this to be worth your time. You mentioned a decision. Would you have made the decision, or would you be more confident about the decision, or help me understand what would need to have happened?
I'd like to be confident in a decision about going back or not going back to my boyfriend, because you know, I'm just not sure. With all this kind of I guess it's kind of been a journey recently with what I've been doing, and like I said, I've had support from my family, but yeah, I'd like to feel confident in my decision because I'm just not sure about what's going on, you know. I've been talking to John a little bit, and he said he's clean, but he used to be a pusher. He used to use, all our friends used. And I love him, but I don't want to go back to the way things were before.
Yeah.
If it's going to be different, that's one thing, but I don't know for sure if it's going to be different or not. I mean, there are so many unknowns, really.
Have you thought at all about what might convince you that it would be different?
I don't know. I don't know what would convince me. Because, like, we've broken up before, and I've gone back to him, like, twice. And both times that I went back, I had tried to stop using, but within a week I was using. And he was also physically violent with me.
Oh my God.
So
Are you afraid that could happen again?
Yeah. Because both times he said it was going to be different. Just like this time, he said it's different. He's not using, but I don't know how I can trust him anymore. But I really do care about him. So it's a really hard decision for me.
It sounds like a almost excruciatingly hard decision. How did you find your way out of this the last time?
This last time? Well, something that was different this time is that I was placed with a family that kind of like a foster family.
Really?
Yeah, but I've known them for a really long time, and I think maybe being in a different place helped me.
Wow, how did you decide to do that? I mean, some people would have just refused to stay with a foster family.
Well, you know, going back the 2 times to John and trying to kick the habit both times and it not working. When the opportunity was offered to me, I thought, well, I was almost ready to try anything.
Wow.
So I thought maybe this is different. Maybe this will help being different.
You were willing to try? And they offered you the opportunity.
Yeah, part of a rehab program.
So what do you think they saw in you that gave them the feeling that, yeah, they should offer you this opportunity? They must have seen something in you.
Yeah. I think maybe they saw me taking the initiative to help myself.
Taking the initiative.
As a positive thing, like that that showed signs that I could do this. And because of that, they saw me maybe as a candidate to try this particular thing, something that would be like a stepping stone for me, maybe.
You took the initiative. Did you contact them?
Yeah, it was kind of like a last resort, like the rehab program.
Wow.
Yeah.
So let me see if I understand this. So in the last few months, you've done 2 things. You left a relationship, and you gave up heroin. And a third thing, you chose to live with a foster family. Wow.
Yeah. A lot of changes.
Yeah. How did you decide to do all 3? I mean, that's pretty amazing.
I don't know about amazing, but thanks. I guess one thing just kind of led to the other. I wasn't feeling healthy. I wasn't happy. So I decided I needed a change. So that's why I left.
So feeling healthy, feeling happy are important.
Feeling healthy and happy, and
should probably write that down because it sounds like that's significant.
yeah.
So that was that part of what gave you the whatever it is when people make a big change like this? I mean, it often takes a lot. Was there anything else that contributed to your being able to make these 3 big changes?
Well, like, you know, my family and, did you ever feel like it was just time to stop doing something that, like, didn't feel right?
Yeah, you had that feeling. Wonder what gave you that feeling? I mean, was it something you saw or thought, or did someone else say to you, or?
it was, part of it was what I was seeing with like our friends.
Oh, so you were paying attention to what you saw around you as well. You were observant. Wow, what did you see?
Stuff that I thought was fun before, like, you know, getting together. It just didn't, it didn't make sense anymore to me. It just, it looked destructive, and it looked like these people who I was spending time with, they just, how should I say this? What they were doing wasn't what I wanted for myself. I think, you know, I would like to have a job.
You'd like to have a job?
Yeah.
Wow.
I'd like to get back to being I've been using the word normal a lot, but, you know, someone that people can depend on, that I can do regular things that people do, you know, go to a job, earn money, be able to support myself, have an apartment.
Have an apartment.
Yeah.
Someone people can depend upon. Normal, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You know, in the past, when you had this feeling, you're saying about other people, you were paying attention to what was happening to other people that you saw around you, and realized you wanted something different. You wanted to be healthy. You wanted to be happy. You paid attention to that feeling, and that's very interesting to me. Is this that kind of feeling now, or is it a different kind of feeling? Is it a feeling that should be paid attention to?
Like how I'm feeling right now?
Some of the things you're saying you're wanting.
Yeah. Should probably be paying attention to that. Something that I didn't say before, too, that really changed my mind about what I was doing is that I was in the hospital, and because of using, and I don't know, it was crazy, and I don't really know how it happened, but my heart stopped.
Oh my God.
And yeah, so that.
How terrifying for you. Was that a turning point?
I don't know why I didn't say that before.
Well, so much of your life, it seems like, has changed. Do you think you were already in the process of making these changes, or was that the beginning?
I think that was probably the beginning.
Wow.
That was rock bottom.
Wow.
I mean, I was dead.
Wow. Wow.
And
God, so do you feel like you made some good decisions in the past?
Yeah.
It sure sounds like you have.
Yeah. After that, I mean, before that, I really got kind of into a downward spiral, I guess. And after that, that's when people really, I mean, you know, my family has always been concerned and wanting to be involved in my life and everything. But after that, people really started expressing concern. And yeah, so that helped me turn things around. It helped me realize what I was doing to myself.
So they were expressing concern. So in terms of the decision you're contemplating right now, has your family expressed any feelings one way or the other?
Yeah, they don't want me to. They don't want me to see him. Yeah.
Do they have a good reason for that?
I guess they associate my previous pattern of behavior with my relationship with him. And they didn't like what that did to me.
So they're worried about you?
Yeah.
So let's suppose that clock on the wall, moves, and we have finished our session, and you're walking out the door, and you run into a good friend, and you and I did what we needed to do in our session. What would you tell your friend about how we spent the session?
I would probably say that we talked through some of the decisions that I made to be where I am, and decided that those were good things. I was able to help myself, and I was able to make good decisions with those things.
So we would have
I think.
recognized some of the things you've already done that are good. What about the other decision? Would you be closer to being able to make it?
You know, I think I would be closer to being able to make it.
Okay. So we'd be moving in that direction. Is there anything else I should be asking you? I'm going to ask you a question, but I wondered if there's some other question I should be asking you that I haven't thought of.
I don't know. Maybe is there a way I can still have contact? Maybe without getting into that situation of like seeing him and seeing all of our old friends. Is that? I don't know.
So you're wondering, is there a way that you could have contact without going into the old pattern you talked
Yeah.
about?
Maybe that would be,
That might be a good question to ask you.
yeah. Or to figure out. But
Any thoughts about how you might answer that?
well, maybe I could just use phone calls right now.
Have you tried that?
Yeah. And maybe if I just stick to the phone calls, then I'll be able to be in that environment that I guess is kind of safe for me, and it's helped me.
Safe.
Yeah. Without, and I can still talk to him, but without being in that other environment.
So, you mentioned 4 things. One is making a decision. Another one, I think, is the importance of being healthy and happy. And yet another one I think I'm hearing that's real important is safe. Have a safe environment. I'm wondering, there's a funny kind of question. It's sort of odd question. It's we call it the miracle question. And we ask it to get a picture of what people really want in their heart. And I'm wondering if it's okay if I ask you that question.
Okay.
Let's suppose that, how are you sleeping, by the way?
Oh, pretty well. I mean, not necessarily all the way through the night, but okay.
Okay. You get to sleep okay?
I get to sleep okay. I mean, whenever you think about something, like a big decision, it's, at least I do. I wake up sometimes in the night thinking about it, but I fall asleep okay.
Let's suppose that tonight you go back. Do you have your own room? Do you enjoy that?
Yeah. Well, it's nice to have your own space.
I think it really can make a big difference.
Yeah.
Were you able to decorate it your way or not?
A little bit.
Little bit?
Bring your stuff in. Bring some of your, if you have pictures or, favorite blanket.
Make it a little more personal. Yeah. Do you have a favorite color?
I like purple.
Oh.
I'm not wearing it today, but
yeah. Do you have purple in your room?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's suppose that tonight you go home and you do whatever it is that you normally do to make yourself real comfortable before bed, and make all those preparations, and eventually the house is relatively quiet, and you're all cozy. Maybe you've got that favorite blanket, and I don't know if you think about going to sleep or it just happens. But sooner or later you get to sleep, and you don't know it because you're asleep. But during this time of sleep, and it's a pretty good sleep, something shifts. Sort of a miracle happens. And these things you've been talking about are really, really, really in place. You have a job, let's suppose. You're in a healthy, happy environment, as you would say. It's safe. It's very safe. And you trust that whatever decision you made was a good one. And you are enjoying your work, I suppose. I don't know. That's all after this miracle. But you don't know any of this happened. And all you know is that you've awakened, and the problem of which decision to make is gone. The other problems you brought here today are gone, but you don't know it. You begin to start out your day. What would the people in your foster home notice about you without you saying a word?
I think they would notice like a lightness, like a lightness of heart.
A lightness of heart. Mm-hmm. How would they see that?
Well, you know,
Would they see it at breakfast?
maybe how can I describe this? It's like when you're trying to make a decision about something. Sometimes, like, I tend to kind of be more quiet, introverted, because I'm thinking about it. And maybe I think I would feel better about it. I'd feel like I think it would. What the decision having been made, I think I would feel like a weight had been lifted off of my shoulders, and that I didn't have to. I didn't have to spend so much time churning the decision over and over and over. I could just get back to talking with people and.
So
You know.
they would notice you talking more. How else would you be spending your time now that so much of your time wasn't being taken up churning this decision?
Maybe spending more time with them, seeing my parents, getting back to maybe visiting with friends that, like old friends, like from school and stuff.
Old friends from school. So you've been to school?
Yeah,
High school, college?
high school, little bit of college.
You graduated from high school? Wow. And some college? Friends from there? That's interesting.
Yeah. And, well, yeah, a job. Job would be nice too.
And anything else you'd be doing at this point? This miracle had happened. How would you be spending we kind of talked about the morning a little bit and what you'd be talking about to the foster family and seeing friends. What about your daytime in general?
Well, I think something that I'd really like to do is get a job.
So you would have looked for a job?
Well, maybe I would have looked for a job, or I would be looking for a job, or.
Wow. Wow. What difference do you think that would make if that was going on?
If I was looking for a job? In like how people saw what I was doing, or how I felt?
Well, either one.
Either one? Well, I think it would give me something to, I don't know, I think looking for a job would make me feel like I was on the right track, you know, of being able to have some of the things that I want. Maybe it'd make me feel more confident. be able to do something like that.
And you've had jobs in the past?
Yeah, well,
You have. So you've
yeah.
had success that way before.
Yeah.
Wow. Anything else that would be part of this for you?
Part of this. I'm thinking.
I'm thinking about your words, happy, healthy, and safe.
Yeah.
Anything else that would be part of those for you?
Well, definitely, happy, healthy, and safe. Definitely continuing on what I'm doing right now and staying clean. I mean, all of those things are not possible. I don't think, at least in my experience, they're not possible to have those for me unless I keep continuing doing what I'm doing.
Continuing doing what you're doing. Can you tell me just a little more about that? About continuing the things you need to continue right now that you're doing?
Well, I need to draw from my support network, my family, my foster family, and
I'm writing it down.
yeah.
Okay.
Keep myself in a place where I can be successful pursuing my goals.
Pursuing your goals. How will you know you're doing that? What would be some signs to you that you're in that place?
I think signs that I'm pursuing my goals. I think, being able to continue getting up in the morning and not having to worry about what's happening next, knowing what that I'm going to be able to do something that's useful to me, to my recovery, to my being able to move forward with this, being able to get up in the morning and participate, I guess, participate in life, being able to get to the place where I can actually go out and look for a job and get a job. I think that would be a good sign, being able to
Going out and being able to apply for a job, would that be a sign? Would that also be a sign that you had made or were able to make the right decision for you?
I think yes, that might
So
be.
they fit together? Let me see if I'm understanding this okay. If we had a scale, and 10 was your readiness to go out and apply for a job, and 0 was you hadn't even yet begun to do the things you're doing now, in terms of getting out of bed, living with this foster family. So you must already be something on this scale.
Yeah.
Where are you now?
I think I'm definitely more than 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Are you 5.5?
I think I don't. Yeah.
Well, let me give you the scale
Yeah.
right here.
Okay.
And you make the mark where you think you are,
Okay.
because you would know.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier if it's in your hand.
Yeah. Visualize, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I feel. Actually, I feel a lot closer to 10 than not. um,
Okay.
I feel,
So, what would you call that? Should you call that
8 maybe.
an 8? Okay. So, what would you need to keep doing in order to maintain this 8?
I don't know, this is a stated kind of negative way, but not a positive way. I think I would have to keep not going into the place where my old pattern of behavior was the norm. I think I'd have to stay away from that. I think I'd have to stay with the people that I'm with now who are helping me.
Okay, now who are some of those people?
Oh, yeah, like the I keep saying this, but like the family I'm staying
So,
with.
family,
Yeah, my family.
other people?
Um,
You mentioned friends. I didn't know if you'd had contact with them recently from college.
maybe I could see them.
Would that raise it? If you saw them?
I'm not sure.
They
I
might
don't
be
know.
part of the 8. Anything else that you need to keep doing in terms of this 8?
You know, I'm not sure.
How much contact would you have with this man at an 8?
Not very much.
As much as you're having right now?
Maybe less. I don't know. Maybe, you know.
If you had more or less contact, how would it affect the 8?
More contact, I think, would bring it down, would bring the 8 down. Yeah. I think.
So if you were to keep the 8 as it was, what would you have instead of contact with him?
Maybe instead of contact with him, maybe that might be getting in touch with some other friends. So there's someone else I can talk to.
How much contact could you have with him and maintain the 8?
Maybe I could just call him periodically. Not regularly, not habitually, but maybe just a little bit. Because I guess it's helping so far to be out of that environment, out of spending that much time with him.
So being in this other environment is part of the 8 too?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Any other parts of your miracle that are already in place? You mentioned, you're in a safe place right now, it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
Any other parts that are already in place or you're moving in place?
Well, I'm feeling much better.
You feel better.
Mm-hmm.
How does that show up?
I have more energy.
So what does the family see you doing with that energy? That we tell them that you have the energy.
I've always kind of been like an organizer. So, yeah, I'm spending my time, spending time organizing things in my room, being able to take care of stuff in the house, like, being able to get up, being able to get dressed, take care of, dishes.
So you take the initiative. Wow. Wow. I bet they appreciate that.
Yeah, I would if I were them. So, yeah. Well, I appreciate them.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Any other part that you've been doing some thinking about in terms of that miracle? Have you had thoughts about a job at all?
Yeah. I'm not sure exactly what I would want to do or what I'd be able to do. But I have a couple of different ideas about things that might be interesting.
You have ideas already.
Possibilities, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe being able to work with other people, helping other people. I don't know what that might be. If it's like, I don't know. What are some things that I could do with that? Like working at I don't know, like a community center or like a senior citizen center or something like that.
Something with other people.
Yeah, something with other people.
Wow. And all this goes in the direction of the tent?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
I usually take a break pretty soon, but I'm wondering, is there anything that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you? Or that would be nice if I asked you? Anything come to mind?
Oh, gosh. I can't think of anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the first thing you have to think about is, what not to do.
Yeah.
I shouldn't do much.
It was tempting. I can really see why people would want to, at least why I the way I felt at times. I had to put my hand over my mouth. I wanted to say, "Don't go back to this guy," and I knew that wouldn't be useful.
No.
Not that'd be the least useful.
And that would be
Yeah.
the most logical,
Yeah.
sensible thing to tell somebody like
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
It's so young and so,
Yeah.
It's so naive and
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
oh, God,
Yeah.
don't do
Yeah.
it, don't do it.
And I was afraid if I left him entirely out of the session,
Yeah.
that might boomerang later.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
And so
Right.
I was kind of torn
Exactly.
between not wanting to talk too much about him, but not wanting to leave him out entirely.
Absolutely.
She
Absolutely.
says,
Yeah.
she's at 8, and going back to him is going to drag it down, or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I don't know
and I say,
those
my
words,
God,
but-
what? what? You had your heart stopped?
Yeah.
Yeah, she almost died.
Almost died.
I guess that is clinically
It
dead.
is a clinical
Yeah,
death,
yeah,
right?
she's
Heart
dead,
stops,
yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Pretty
so-
alarming.
It's, don't you remember? you feel
think
like
that-
saying to her.
Yeah, maybe help her stay at,
Yeah.
focus on staying at 8, you know. Aye.
Yeah.
Find a way to help herself, remind herself to stay at 8.
Remind herself.
Yeah. I think that's very
Remind herself
important.
to stay at 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what does she
And
do?
it's come a long way.
Yeah, yeah.
She
yeah.
has
It's
come
a
a-
long
so
way.
she's come a long
She's come
way.
a long
What,
way.
what does she and other people do to help her stay at 8?
I don't know, but she has really come a long way from, physical violence and
Yeah, and junk.
all that heroin stuff and the friends, the network, the whole drug network. She got out of that.
Yeah.
That's a remarkable change that she's making.
It really is remarkable.
Yeah.
So naturally, she would want to go back to that, miss him and think about him.
Yeah,
and,
yeah, yeah. Yeah, because there's a certain reward in this,
Right,
in the short term.
right.
In the long term, well, she knows also that that's not the way it goes.
So maybe should I say that? Of course, she would miss him, and
Yeah.
there's
Oh,
even
sure.
a
Oh,
short-term
sure.
reward in going back.
Sure.
But she's obviously able to recognize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this is the old, it's going to pull her down.
Right.
Drag her down, whatever word she used. I don't remember what word she used.
I think she used the drag down.
Drag
yeah,
down.
Yeah, drag
Yeah.
down. I think.
That-
Yeah.
Would lower her number.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Fast.
certainly will
Any more
lower
contact.
the
Yeah,
number.
right.
That's what
Okay.
she says.
That was what she
It will
said.
lower the number.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe acknowledge. Of course, she would miss him. It's
Yeah.
normal. It's understandable.
Of course.
The difference between a short-term reward, though, and the longer effects.
And she is.
But don't make too much of it.
She is
not- don't
thoughtful
go too
enough to
far,
think
okay.
about, what would be best for me in the long term,
Yeah.
and she's willing to think about.
So I think staying at 8 is more important than any of this.
I think so. Yeah.
If she can do that, and
She came all the way up to 8
in 6 months.
in 6 months.
It's pretty incredible.
Pretty incredible, really.
Did you say something about what does she and others? What do she and others do to help herself stay at an 8
Yeah, to help herself and to keep and remind her.
and remind herself to
Both.
stay at an 8?
To stay
Both
at
those
To
things.
remind herself.
She watches all this.
So
She's
maybe-
a pretty observant kid. So.
Very,
So invite her to watch
Very.
it or observe it.
Yeah, yeah.
very observant. Yeah. Very
Compliment her and
thoughtful. Very thoughtful.
thoughtful. She's
Yeah.
very thoughtful.
Very thoughtful. Yeah.
And she's a very appealing young person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's.
Yeah, she's got a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
What she needs to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I hope I get it right. If I don't, buzz me.
Okay.
Yeah, will do.
Well, Jenny, the team had quite a bit to say.
Really?
Yeah, I hope I got it all down. It struck us that you have really come huge distance in the last 6 months, all the way to 8. That's incredibly impressive.
Thanks.
They noticed, and I agree with this, that you are a very observant person. And you really are very good at noticing what's going on. And also you're good at, let's see if I have this right. Well, you're missing, of course you're missing your boyfriend at times. That's just completely normal. And you recognize that going back to him would be rewarding in the short term. Of course it would be. And at the same time, it seems to us that you also recognize that in the long term, as you said, it would drag you down.
Yeah.
In terms of contact with him, you said it would lower the number. It would drag that 8 down. You'd be going down.
Yeah.
So it was very impressive to us that you know what it takes in terms of contact and not contact to have an 8 and maintain an 8. We're especially taken with the idea of you finding ways to remind yourself about staying at an 8. Remind yourself of how you stay at an 8. And we were thinking about what it would be like for you to just kind of observe what other people do, what you do that keeps you at an 8, maintains an 8 or even higher, because you're such a good observer. And so my thought was that I might just invite you to just watch what keeps you at an 8 and kind of keep track, if you like, in your mind of anything other people do that contributes to that 8. And just the things that you're doing, that you want to keep on doing.
Makes sense.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does that fit for you?
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense to me.
The fact that you've come this far seems to me that you're on the right track.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel better.
Mm. Mm.